In this video, I'll be comparing two different reef ecosystems of Hawaii and American Samoa, and also including Western Samoa and Fiji, because I've traveled to these places. And these islands are, Hawaii and American Samoa are very far apart, yet they have a lot of sea life in common, but also a lot of differences as well. One of the first things you notice when snorkeling in Hawaii is you see the corals, and most of the corals are porite corals. And you'll see it's not that common to see corals out alive because many of them have died in most areas, but there's still some places where you can find pristine corals. Another thing that's very noticeable is presence of many sea turtles around the Hawaiian waters. They're very common in many beaches, and it is very common to come across large ones as well. And in some beaches you'll see several in one place, and it's a very common sight. And there were times when I've encountered really big ones too. The most common sea turtle you come across is a green sea turtle. Hawaii does have the hawksbill sea turtle, which is very rare and endangered. One of the wildlife species which is unique to the Hawaiian archipelago and nowhere else in the world is a Hawaiian monk seal. In certain beaches you will come across them, and they are critically endangered. It is very common to see colorful fish when snorkeling in Hawaii, such as the reef triggerfish, and while very common in Hawaii, also present in American Samoa and many other Pacific islands, and the butterfly fish I've also seen in both areas, and the blue parrotfish, which I've also seen snorkeling in both areas, and the Moorish idolfish, which are also very common in both areas, as well as the moray eel. When snorkeling in American Samoa, I noticed a lot more coral diversity and a lot denser coral reefs with a lot of live corals. And during low tides, you can even see all the corals exposed, and you'll sometimes see areas of purple coral, and that just shows how there's a lot more denser corals that are still alive. And while American Samoa has a lot of porite corals, unlike Hawaii, there's also a lot of staghorn coral, which is very abundant on the islands. American Samoa has very healthy coral reefs compared to most other Pacific islands around the world, and this is due because they got less affected by coral bleaching, which is caused by warming waters, and it stresses the corals out and they turn pale. And a lot of times they don't survive, but other times they do recover. And other Pacific islands like Western Samoa and Fiji, they got hit a lot harder by the bleaching, and a lot of them didn't recover as well. However, in beginning of 2024, it was very hot in the South Pacific, and American Samoa did have some coral bleaching, as I have observed myself. However, in the middle of this year, I noticed that the corals have recovered on one of the beaches that I visited. When snorkeling in Western Samoa, I noticed that there's a lot less live coral reefs, but however, there is one beach called Palolo Deep, where there's a very abundant coral reef, and this area was actually taken care of, which is why the corals are very healthy there. And I was there in the middle of 2023, and I was very impressed to see a very healthy coral reef. And in end of 2023, I traveled to Fiji, and one of the most noticeable things was also less coral, but there was an island where there was some coral, but most of the coral that I saw was soft coral, also known as sea anemones. And then there were a few porite corals, but other than that, they didn't have the staghorn coral or other abundant coral species because they were hit very hard by coral bleaching the past years. Another thing that's noticeable when snorkeling in American Samoa or Fiji or Western Samoa is seeing a lot more colorful fish that we don't have in Hawaii, such as the South Seas Devil or the blue-green damselfish and the Koran angelfish. Many of those very colorful and very abundant, and especially the colorful damselfish, they make the reef a lot more colorful than Hawaii. Another thing also noticed snorkeling in American Samoa is that compared to Hawaii, I see less sea turtles. However, I do see sea turtles every once in a while, but compared to Hawaii, I feel like the density is a lot less, and this could be due to because people hunted them more recently, and while in Hawaii they were protected for longer, so that possibly could be a factor. And I notice the sea turtles that I see in American Samoa are relatively smaller compared to the ones I've seen in Hawaii, and this could also be due to hunting pressure from the past. Thanks for watching.